Hey everyone, come on in and settle down for a minute. Let me know if you can hear me clearly before we really get started. I am not the most tech savvy person in the world, so if the sound is a little weird at first, just bear with me. Tell me where you are tuning in from too. I always love seeing how many different places show up for these conversations and how far this message reaches. I'm going to give people a minute to join because this is one of those conversations that needs a little time and a little focus. This is not just a quick chat, this is one of those deeper talks. Think of it more like a relationship masterclass, but in plain language. We are talking about marriage, why it breaks down, why so many people feel stuck inside it, and what really pushes two people apart over time. A lot of people think marriages fail because of one big event, one betrayal, one blow up, one bad year, but that is usually not how it happens. Most marriages do not fall apart all at once. They erode, slowly, quietly, in ways most people miss until the damage is already done. That is what makes this hard. It is not always dramatic. Sometimes it is subtle. Sometimes it looks normal from the outside while falling apart underneath. And that is exactly what we are getting into today. I want to walk through the biggest reasons marriages fail, why it happens so often, and what people can do before things break beyond repair. I am going to keep it direct, honest too. Some of what I say may challenge you, some of it may bother you. Good. That usually means it is hitting something real, and real is where actual change begins. I am not here to upset you for fun. I am not here to shame men. I am not here to shame women either. I am here to help you see clearly. A lot of people are not lacking love. They are lacking clarity. They are confused. They are exhausted. They are trying to figure out what happened to something they once believed would last. So let's make sense of it. Let's strip it down and call it what it is. And the first thing I am going to say is probably going to bother some people, but I mean it. A lot of you are not in bad marriages. You are in the wrong marriage. That is different. Those are not the same thing. A bad marriage sounds like something broken that can be repaired. The wrong marriage is different. That is often two people trying to force something that never fit the way they hoped it would. That is a hard truth because it asks people to admit something they usually knew much earlier. Most people saw signs in the beginning. They saw things that felt off. They noticed disconnect. They noticed hesitation, but they kept going. Maybe they were hopeful. Maybe they were scared to start over. Maybe they thought love would be enough to carry the rest. Most people do. It sounds romantic. It just is not always true. Love matters. Of course it does. But love alone is not enough to hold two incompatible people together long term. It is not enough to fix deep mismatch. It is not enough to create respect where there is none. It is not enough to build desire where it never truly existed. And it is definitely not enough to force alignment between two people whose values are pulling them in completely different directions. So today I am breaking this down into 5 major reasons marriages fail. Not surface level reasons, real ones. The deeper reasons, the ones people avoid because they are uncomfortable, the ones most people dance around because saying them out loud forces accountability. I am not a therapist. I am not a licensed counselor. I am speaking from lived experience, deep observation, personal growth, and the work it takes to become honest with yourself. That matters because a lot of people spend years trying to fix symptoms while ignoring the root. They focus on communication tricks, date nights, and surface habits. Those things can help. But if the foundation is cracked, none of that matters for very long. You can decorate dysfunction all day. It is still dysfunction. So we are going to the root. That is where the real answers live, and that is where real change starts. The first reason marriages fail is sexual incompatibility. And yes, this matters more than people like to admit. A lot more. People love pretending sex is not that important until the relationship starts starving from the lack of it. Then suddenly, it matters very much. Sexual disconnect is one of the biggest reasons marriages begin to erode, and most people either ignore it, minimize it, or feel too uncomfortable to talk about it honestly. And no, this is not just about sex in the most basic sense. This is bigger than that. It is not just frequency. It is not just performance. It is not just whether people are doing it often enough. It is about chemistry, desire, safety, openness, presence, curiosity, emotional access. A lot of people are having sex, but very few people are actually connected through it. Those are two very different experiences, and the difference matters more than most people realize. There is a difference between physical release and real intimacy. A huge difference. There is a difference between sex, making love, quick passion, emotional closeness, and truly connected intimacy. Those are not interchangeable. They carry different energy, different meaning, different impact. Some people spend years in marriages where sex becomes routine, mechanical, or absent, and they wonder why they slowly start feeling emotionally disconnected from the person beside them. When sexual connection is healthy, it creates closeness, it softens tension, it builds trust, it keeps attraction alive, it helps both people feel chosen, desired, wanted, seen. That matters. When that connection is weak, inconsistent, forced, or missing, resentment starts building underneath everything else. People stop feeling wanted, they stop feeling connected, they start feeling rejected, overlooked, or emotionally alone. That kind of distance grows fast even when no one says it out loud. Sexual compatibility is not just about skill either. Skill can improve, communication can improve, comfort can improve, but base desire is different. That raw pull towards someone usually exists or it does not. You can deepen it, you can strengthen it, but you cannot manufacture real desire where there was never genuine attraction to begin with. That is the part people hate hearing, but it matters because it changes what can be fixed and what probably cannot. A lot of couples confuse emotional love with sexual compatibility. Those are not the same thing. You can love someone deeply and still not want them physically in the way a healthy romantic relationship requires. That does not make either person bad. It makes the mismatch real. And if that mismatch is ignored long enough, it starts showing up everywhere else. Irritation grows, distance grows, touch fades, affection fades. Then both people start wondering what happened. You should not have to convince yourself to want your partner. You should not have to force desire. You should not have to perform attraction like it is a chore. Healthy sexual chemistry has effort in it, yes, but the desire itself should not feel manufactured. It should feel natural, alive, mutual. That does not mean perfect. It means real. When it is real, both people can feel it. When it is not, both people feel that too, even if nobody says it. The second reason marriages fail is years of buried resentment. This one destroys more marriages than people realize because resentment rarely arrives loudly. It builds quietly, slowly, in tiny moments, small disappointments, repeated letdowns, broken promises, unspoken hurt. Needs that were never voiced, needs that were voiced and ignored. It stacks over time, and by the time it finally surfaces, it is no longer about one issue. It is about years of accumulated pain. Resentment is not usually one big wound. It is 1,000 small ones left untreated. It is what happens when someone keeps swallowing what hurts them instead of speaking clearly about it. It is what happens when people stay silent to keep the peace, then quietly become bitter because their silence changed nothing. That is how resentment grows, quietly, under the surface. Then one day people are fighting over dishes while actually bleeding from 10 years of disappointment. A lot of couples do not even know what they are really fighting about anymore. They think they are arguing about chores, timing, tone, money, or who forgot what. Usually it is much deeper. Usually they are fighting through layers of old pain that never got addressed properly. That is what resentment does. It clouds everything. It makes every conflict heavier than it should be because it is carrying the emotional weight of years, not just one moment. Resentment feeds on silence. It feeds on avoidance. It feeds on unmet expectations that were never clearly spoken. It feeds on overpromising and underdelivering. It feeds on feeling unseen, underappreciated, unsupported, or emotionally abandoned. It grows every time someone says they will change and does not. It grows every time someone feels alone in carrying the emotional, mental, or physical weight of the relationship while the other person stays passive. And yes, some resentment is self-inflicted. That part matters too. You cannot stay silent for years, say nothing, communicate nothing, and then explode one day like the other person was supposed to read your mind the whole time. That is not fair. Silence has consequences too. If something hurts you, say it. If something matters, speak. If something keeps happening, address it. Quiet suffering is not noble. It is destructive. Speak up or accept what you are tolerating. The third reason marriages fail is lack of core compatibility. This is not about hobbies, not surface stuff, not liking the same music or movies. This is deeper. This is values, morals, standards, vision. This is who you are underneath personality. This is what you believe about life, family, money, responsibility, children, loyalty, ambition, and what kind of life you are actually trying to build. If those things are misaligned, love alone will not save you. This is where many couples get it wrong because chemistry can hide incompatibility in the beginning. Attraction is loud, excitement is loud, desire is loud. In the early stages, people minimize what does not fit because they want the relationship to work. They call red flags differences. They call deep misalignment compromise. Then real life starts. Stress hits. Decisions matter. Pressure rises. The honeymoon fades. That is when core incompatibility finally stops hiding and starts costing both people. You can have opposite personalities and still work beautifully. Personality differences can balance a relationship. One person can be louder, one quieter, one more emotional, one more logical, one more structured, one more spontaneous. That can work. Opposite personalities often create balance, but opposite values create collision. That is different. Personality shapes how you move through life. Values shape where you are going. If those directions do not align, eventually the relationship breaks under the strain. You can love someone and still be fundamentally incompatible. That is one of the hardest truths people have to accept. Love does not automatically equal fit. It does not automatically equal long-term peace. It does not automatically equal alignment. Two people can care deeply for each other and still be wrong for each other. Painful, yes. True too. The sooner people accept that, the sooner they stop wasting years trying to force what was never built to hold. The fourth reason marriages fail is loss of polarity. This one is talked about the least and felt the most. Attraction needs polarity. Desire needs contrast. This is not about rigid gender roles. It is about energetic dynamics. When polarity collapses, attraction often goes with it, slowly, quietly, until one day two people are functioning like roommates, co-managers, or exhausted co-workers instead of lovers. That shift is more common than people realize, and it does real damage over time. When a woman has to live in constant control mode, always leading, always planning, always managing, always carrying the emotional and practical weight, something shifts in her. She may still function well, she may still look strong, but internally she gets tired, hard, guarded, hyper-aware, less soft, less open, less trusting. She starts feeling more like the manager of the relationship than someone safe enough to relax inside it. That changes everything. When a man becomes passive, avoidant, emotionally dependent, or unwilling to lead, something shifts in him too. He loses confidence, he loses edge, he loses direction. He may not say it out loud, but he feels it. Then she feels it too. And once she starts feeling more responsible for him than safe with him, attraction begins to die. That is not cruelty, that is polarity. And once it is gone, desire usually begins fading with it. The fifth reason marriages fail is simple but brutal. People grow apart instead of growing together. This one sneaks up quietly because nothing dramatic has to happen. No betrayal, no explosion, no major collapse, just distance, slow distance. Two people stop checking in, stop sharing, stop evolving together, stop staying curious, stop choosing each other with intention. Then one day they look at each other and realize they no longer really know the person beside them. Growing together requires intention, shared vision, shared direction, shared effort. It requires people to keep learning each other as they change, because people do change. That is normal. The problem is not change. The problem is when one person grows and the other disconnects from it, or worse, resents it. Then distance begins. Real connection gets replaced by routine. Logistics replace intimacy. Familiarity replaces curiosity. Comfort replaces effort. That is how people become strangers inside long relationships. A healthy marriage is not sustained by love alone. It is sustained by honesty, effort, alignment, desire, respect, shared direction, and daily choice. Every day, not just on the wedding day, not just in vows, every day. Marriage does not stay healthy because two people loved each other once. It stays healthy because they keep choosing how they show up for each other long after the excitement settles and real life begins. That is the part people forget. Commitment is not just a feeling, it is behavior, repeated behavior. It is consistency. It is accountability. It is telling the truth sooner. It is staying honest when it would be easier to avoid. It is fixing what can be fixed and being honest about what cannot. That is what keeps relationships alive. Not fantasy, not comfort, not denial. Truth does. Truth always does.